Today on Fresno State Focus, we take a look at the funeral ceremony for the 41st President, George H.W. Bush.
We'll also show how the football team walked away as Mountain West champions this past Saturday.
Plus, we help you get into the holiday spirit. Horse-drawn carriage rides are back in Old Town Clovis. Fresno State Focus starts now. Fresno State Focus. I'm Rosmi Kanyas.
And I'm Deja Wright. On this National Day of Mourning honoring the late President George Herbert Walker Bush, we begin our 7 Things to Know at this morning's funeral at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C.
The nation said goodbye to the late President George H.W. Bush during his state funeral today. 3,000 political leaders and family members gathered at the National Cathedral in Washington. The 5 living U.S. presidents were all there in the front row. His son, former President George W. Bush, was the final of several sharing stories and eulogies, sharing a profound sense of honor and humor, celebrating the president's life rather than mourning his death.
To us, he was close to perfect, but not totally perfect. His short game was lousy. He wasn't exactly Fred Astaire on the dance floor.
The remains of the 41st president are now headed back home to Texas. He will be buried at Texas A&M University in College Station tomorrow.
You might have enjoyed the pause from the rain, but it's not time to put away your umbrellas just yet. With overcast skies and a 60% chance of rain today, chances are your Wednesday might be a little wet. The weather forecast calls for an on and off showers this afternoon and into this evening.
Rain here in the valley means snow in the mountains. If there's one thing that gets people into the holiday spirit, it's the fresh coating of an early winter snowfall. Up in Yosemite, a blanket of snow is draped over the mountaintop of the High Sierra Peaks. Yesterday, as you can see in this time-lapse video, from dawn until dusk, snow fell steadily over the valley.
The curse is finally broken. The Fresno State football team became Mountain West champions this past weekend. Students and staff cheered loud and proud not just at the game, but in their homes too. In overtime on a snow-covered field, Ronnie Rivers skated in for the winning touchdown. Fresno State got the win with a 19-16 win over Boise State, and the cheering began. This is Fresno State's first win on the blue turf and first win at Boise State since 1984.
Tonight, the MCJ department will hold its final lecture series of the semester. The guest speaker will be Michael Carr, the news director at Fresno's ABC 30. He will cover a number of topics, including powerful storytelling, and guests will be able to ask questions at the end. This takes place at the Alice Peters Auditorium on campus. Food will be provided starting at 5:30, and the lecture begins at 6.
Today marks the 4th day of Hanukkah. Jews around the world lit candles Sunday to mark the Festival of Lights. Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh also had its own special ceremony. A menorah lighting was held at the synagogue where 11 people were killed in a mass shooting in October. The White House illuminated the national menorah in a ceremony Sunday. The 8-day Jewish festival runs through Monday. Christmas Tree Lane is open for season. Last Saturday, Christmas Tree Lane celebrated its first day open with a walk-only night. Families braved the chilly weather to see all the attractions along the lane. There were live performances from bands and orchestras to help spread the Christmas cheer. Fresno's Christmas Tree Lane will be open until December 25th.
In just a few weeks, you'll probably be seeing students dashing to class with coffee and Scantrons in hand. Yes, finals week is creeping upon us, but is your brain ready? William Hardaway is here from the Learning Center to tell us a little bit of tips and tricks to help with finals week. Thank you for joining us, William.
Thank you for having me.
So let us know about the Learning Center. What is that here on campus?
So the Learning Center is probably the biggest academic support program that we have on the campus, but it's not the only one. So I have partners at places like the Writing Center, Engineering Pathways has a tutoring program, the Graduate Writing Studio, the Graduate Stats Lab, and there's some others that contribute a lot to academic support on the campus.
So how can centers like the ones you mentioned help students in preparation for final exams?
If you're talking about content-specific courses, so non-writing, I think scholars like Karpicki and Dunlosky, what they do suggest is what has the highest utility is mental retrieval. So recalling things from memory, I think oftentimes students will get something like a practice test and use it as a study guide, not really time themselves and do things without reference. But that's probably the best thing that's going to help students. Also distributed practice, so making sure you start early and do things in small chunks and not overload yourself and cram last minute.
Well, thank you so much, William, for sharing those tips. We were just speaking with William Hardingway of the Learning Center. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
It's snowing right now up at China Peak. Clayton is here now to show us how the resort is getting ready for the season.
Yes, thank you, Deja. And preparing they are. This is a crucial year for the ski resort. Last year was terrible. The resort had to close mid-season because of a lack of snow. Even though the resort got its earliest snowfall since 2011 this year, they're still not out of the woods.
After a substantial amount of snow at the top of the mountain late last week, China Peak is open for the 2019 season. But owner Tim Cohey knows they need a lot more to do what they call secure the asset.
At some point, you need a year like this to recover. And then hopefully, if we end up having a really good year this year, we involve our snowmaking system, then we will have what I would call secure the asset. We will make sure that China Peak exists in the future.
Not only are Cohey and his employees hoping for a big year, but so are the businesses in Shaver Lake and Huntington Lake who depend on the draw that the resort brings.
It'd be devastating, especially for the economy of just Shaver Lake. They rely a lot on it, I feel like, especially their winter income relies a lot on tourism to China Peak.
Opening early and having a profitable Christmas are two key variables when it comes to staying in the black for a ski resort. One of those variables is almost checked off the list.
China Peak got over 2 feet of snow last night, which is really increasing the hopes of all the employees and owner Tim Cohey that this year is going to be the bounce back year that they needed. With all this fresh powder, tomorrow's opening is looking like it's going to be a very joyous occasion.
There's definitely a buzz. Once we started getting snow, and then it started dumping on us. We got this blizzard. Everybody's spirits just kind of jumped up, and we're very excited for this winter. Yeah.
If all goes well this winter, Cohey plans of expanding the resort's snowmaking power so that they won't have to rely on the weather. This also will help secure the employment of seasonal workers that China Peak relies on to work the heavy equipment, ski patrol, search and rescue, and run the lifts.
Now, obviously, I shot that this weekend right before the resort opened. It will only be open on the weekends between now and December 15th. After that, it'll be open every day until they hope late spring. Of course, that depends on the weather. But right now, they have 26 inches of snow at the top of the mountain.
It's time to go shopping for toys. It's always fun imagining the reaction a child will have on Christmas morning when they open your gift. Cruz Gonzalez shows us how a toy you buy can help brighten a child's life here in Fresno.
This local tire shop isn't just changing tires. They're trying to change some Valley Kids Christmas and make it just a little bit merrier.
We want to meet the need that is out there for the year.
Les Schwab manager Bradley Buffin has a lot of heart for this fundraiser, and for good reason.
It's such a direct thing that goes right back to the community. They see every dollar they give us turned into a toy and given right back.
The toys are collected at all Fresno area locations, then brought over to the Poverello House's warehouse. This table right here will soon be filled with volunteers wrapping gifts, putting together hygiene packs, and even warming kits to distribute to those in need this holiday season.
This is a community-wide effort.
Poverello House CEO Cruz Avila tells us about the rewarding feeling come Christmas morning.
Christmas Day here, we give out about 5,000 toys plus 5,000 plus toys here on Christmas morning to be able to give out to the community. And these are all these families in need.
Whether it's a blanket, a toy, or anything in between, at the end of the day, it's all about giving. Cruz Gonzalez, Fresno State Focus.
You can drop off unwrapped toys at any Les Schwab location or at the Sierra Vista Mall. All of the toys will go to kids at the Poverello House for Christmas. Coming up on Fresno State Focus, we'll show you how to get something that'll bring your Christmas table together.
Plus, we have a WWE superstar in the building. He'll tell you what he's doing here at Fresno State. All that when we come back.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
This is our Fresno State, forming relationships and learning experiences that last a lifetime, making friends who are like family, learning from professors who treat us like family, and earning a degree to make a better future for our family. Engaging our alumni generation by generation by generation. This is our Fresno State. Welcome to the family.
History will be made this Friday at the Save Mart Center as the first ever one-night, 8-man MMA tournament takes place in California. Participants have a chance of winning $100,000 in prize money.
Here to speak with us is one of the announcers and WWE champion, Alberto Del Rio. Thank you so much for joining us today.
So can you kind of tell us how you got into this?
First of all, thank you for having me here, and this is going to be amazing. This is the first time for us here in Fresno. I know there's a huge, big Latin, Hispanic, Mexican community in Fresno, and that's one of the main reasons why we picked Fresno to bring Copa Combate. I used to compete in Japan. I used to compete MMA in Japan, and then my good friend and boss, Cameron McLaren, invited me to be part of this amazing company. And well, now we're developing talent. We're taking the company and the fighters to many places like Fresno, California.
So you were a former fighter yourself, and now how does it feel to kind of see that new generation of fighters coming in, those new fans that are joining in as well?
Oh, it's fantastic because we are creating opportunities. We're creating role models for the future generations of fighters and people who wants to achieve their goals in life, and especially these days when the Hispanic community are struggling or they're having a hard time, not just in this nation but around the world. We are showing them that there's places where you can go and have opportunities to succeed, and if you have talent and you have what it takes to succeed, you can find a place in companies like such as Combate Americas.
Okay, so if you had to say someone was your favorite fighter, who would it be?
I have many fighters, many favorite fighters. One of them was one of my mentors, Marco Huas, who was champion in Ultimate Fighting #7. He became champion. I think that one was in Canada, if I'm right. But he's one of my favorite ones.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
We've been talking with Alberto Del Rio, WWE champion and announcer for this week's big event.
This year's Combate Americas tournament will be Friday night at the Save Mart Center. Student tickets are only $10 if you go through Ticketmaster and use code COPAEDU.
There's one Christmas decoration that everyone wants on their table, and they're grown right here in the Central Valley. Poinsettias. I recently visited the go-to plant spot where these beauties are grown and shipped out by the hundreds for the holidays.
The time has come to get into the holiday spirit, but none of that can be complete without the proper decorations. Well, look no further, because your one-stop shop for every Christmas plant you need in your house is right here. Along with these cute miniature trees is one special plant that is the epitome of the holiday, poinsettias. These are all locally grown, and customers are getting them while they're hot.
We kind of direct them over to the greenhouse, and they go, wow, look at all these colors, and it mostly comes down to what color is your favorite, which is sometimes difficult, but usually people figure that out in the end or end up getting a bunch of colors.
John Realhorn says these are the #1 selling potted plants in America.
So we sell more poinsettias in that little short window of less than a month than in, say, a chrysanthemum or any of the other flowers all year long.
Most of these plants will be shipped throughout the Central Valley for fundraisers and holiday decoration.
We're the only local grower of poinsettias, and so we're looking for something that is applicable to the general public and December.
But wait, there's more. You can also pick out your very own live Christmas tree.
So you use it for Christmas for a month, and then afterwards you take it out in your yard and plant it.
So in that case, every day can be Christmas, even in July. But for now, while it's cold and while we wait for Santa, this small, simple plant is spreading holiday cheer all around the Central Valley.
You can find poinsettias at a lot of places around town this time of year, but now you know where you can find homegrown poinsettias in Fresno. By the way, Razmik, they're pronounced two different ways. You can say poinsettia or poinsettia. Both pronunciations are right. All the red speckled ones and the pink speckled ones, plants actually, it's the leaves, so it's just something, they're not just flowers. You know, that's specifically for poinsettias.
That's cool, you learn something new every day. Well, if that doesn't get you in the holiday spirit, maybe this will. A popular holiday tradition is back in Old Town Clovis, carriage rides. As Scott Grunwald shows us, this is a real treat for the community.
From the weekend after Thanksgiving all the way through December, everyone has the opportunity to come down to Old Town Clovis on Pulaski Street and take part in the time-honored tradition of riding the horse carriages.
It's common for lines to stretch down the street as people wait to take part in this festive tradition. For some, this is the closest they will ever get to a horse.
Not all kids around here get to see horses, maybe once a year during Clovis Rodeo, during the parades, you see them go by, but then they don't get a chance to interact with them. You have these horses that actually get to see them really
The tradition going for the past decade. They own the 200 French carriage, and her husband David helps the people in line and blocks cars when needed. For some, these carriage rides are the true mark of the holiday season.
We've had several people that come in every year at the beginning of the year, and this kind of kicks off their Christmas.
The rides bring people out from throughout the community.
Got the horses, the jingles going on, the Christmas shopping, the Christmas music. It's awesome. It really brings the spirit and the whole feeling of Christmas today.
The rest of the area is still active as well. The rides are intertwined with the rest of the town, which is all decked out. Stores are open, Christmas music plays along the street and sidewalks. In a festive Old Town Clovis, Scott Grunwald, Fresno State Focus.
The carriage rides run all the way through the end of the month.
Well, that sounds like something fun to do for, the Christmas time or when finals are finally over.
Yeah, once it's all done, enjoy a little ride. Well, coming up in sports, we'll show you how the Bulldogs came away with a championship victory. Two players will be here live to tell us how
look into the mind of one of the
Up in my head. Up in my head. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Deep in my heart. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. All over me. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
Welcome back. I'm Cruz Gonzalez with your focus on sports. One word to describe the Fresno State football team's historic win this past weekend: redemption. As we said at the top of the newscast, the Bulldogs came out on top against Boise, winning 19-16. This win breaks the so-called blue turf curse, ending a 34-year drought of the Bulldogs not being able to beat Boise on the road. The pride and celebration was heard all through Fresno. Congrats, champs. Now the team is headed to a bowl game, like next week. Senior wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson and redshirt junior quarterback Jorge Reyna are here to tell us how it feels to be bowl-bound Mountain West champs. Now tell me, champs, how does it feel?
It feels good, honestly, especially being a part with Keyshawn Johnson, who's been part of this historic tradition of being with Derek Carr and everybody. So you tell us how it's been.
It's been one great ride, It's been different going from, one of the worst teams in West and just college football period, and then coming to, being one of the best. So it's a great feeling.
Definitely. You guys brought a lot of pride to the Valley. You hear it all throughout the whole city of Fresno and even the surrounding cities. Now, what are the plans, for the upcoming bowl game? Any things you guys are looking to change? Anything you guys are looking to improve on?
Just improve as a team, always each week go out there, compete, just do better as a team and come out with a victory. That's the main goal for us.
Yeah, exactly like that. Just stay with our standard and keep going. We have a great head coach that really hones in on maintaining our standard and doing our things properly. So it's going to be a good bowl game.
That's real. Now tell me, guys, I know you're a senior, and then Jorge, I know you're coming up. Like, what do you guys plan on doing this next year?
You got that one.
We're hoping to surpass this year's standard. We're hoping to, I can't give away too much information about that, but we hope we could go back to a bowl game and hopefully a big bowl game like we were supposed to this year.
That's real. Now, I know Boise, one of the biggest rivals we have here at Fresno State. How good did it feel to finally beat them at home?
It was a great feeling. We won last year, and then we went down to Boise, and we lost in the championship game. So after our loss there, we came back, and we knew what we wanted to do and what we wanted to achieve as a team. And, we just put the work in throughout the summer, through, summer conditioning, summer workouts. And when we got to season fall camp, we knew what we wanted to do, and I feel like it turned out to be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys again for joining us, and congratulations, champs.
Thank you.
Football isn't the only team bringing home wins this week. Our men's basketball team beat Cal Poly at home 76-67. Deshaun Taylor scored in double digits for his 7th consecutive game and scored 20-plus points for the 3rd time this season. The Bulldogs remain undefeated at home this season and improved to a 5-2 record. Julia Vela joins us live at the Save Mart Center to tell us more about this team and the season.
Thanks, Cruz. I'm here at the Save Mart Center, the home of the Fresno State men's basketball team. This year, they have a historic 7-game homestand, the longest one since the 1954-55 season. Here with me now to talk about the team is Stephen Tremblay. Stephen is the Director of New Media here at Fresno State, as well as the Sports Information Director for men's basketball. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm doing great. So this year, we talked about how the team got a new coach, Justin Hudson. How's the chemistry with the team and the coach under Hudson?
Well, it's great. I mean, I have a Valley native back home in this beautiful, you can see the Save Mart Center that can seat over 15,000 fans. There's so much excitement around this team. The team's playing a very up-tempo, fun brand of basketball and playing really well so far. 5-2 on the season, played in a prestigious Wooden Legacy earlier this year and played really well, beating a Northwestern team by about 20.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see the rest of this homestand.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Stephen. And now here's a look at Deshaun Taylor, one of the most confident players on the team.
A familiar sound to the Red Wavers inside the Save Mart Center over the last few years. The senior has played in every game since transferring to Fresno State.
Deshaun is one of those players that you love to have on your team, but you hate to play against.
Entering his senior season, Deshaun was picked to the All-Mountain West first team and All-Mountain West defensive team after having his best collegiate season. Stephen Tremblay says that is exactly the type of player Taylor has been since he got to Fresno State.
When Deshaun came here in 2015, he's a guy that has always brought it every day, especially on the floor. And he was a big reason why we won the 2016 Mountain West Championship.
But where does he get that never quit work ethic from? Taylor says his family and his upbringing drove him to be better than others said he could be.
Where I'm from, Riverside, my dad and mom, kind of always being an underdog, so you always got to go out there and prove yourself. So that's kind of what I live by, prove yourself.
Taylor decided to play his freshman year at the University of Missouri, Kansas City, a dream and goal he says he knew he always could achieve.
I knew I was always good enough to play in this environment, this kind of conference, and I was working my butt off to get here, so I basically had to prove everybody wrong.
And prove them wrong he did. Deshaun Taylor is now back in California representing the Valley here in the Save Mart Center as one of the best guards in the nation.
So far this year, Taylor is averaging 19.3 points and 5 assists per game, good enough for first on the team in both categories. But his leadership doesn't just stop on the court.
And try to just lead the younger guys, lead the younger generation, that anything is possible if you put your mind to it.
To have someone like Deshaun who performs well on and off the floor is a big deal for our young guys.
Being one of 3 seniors on the team and one of the only returning starters from last year, all eyes will be on Taylor, a feeling he says he is more than okay with.
Now back to you, Cruz. Your next opportunity to see Deshaun and the rest of the Dogs will be tonight at the Save Mart Center at 7 p.m. as they take on Weber State. Now back to you, Cruz.
And that's your focus on sports. Let's check out a real neat project in downtown Fresno with Chelsea.
Thanks, Cruz. You could take a stroll in downtown Fresno and get to know some lovely faces of people in your community. This is the Inside Out Project. Located in downtown Fresno, pasted on the backside of the Crest Theater, is the Inside Out Project. This is a people's art project that has a purpose to travel to different cities to give people a platform to share messages.
Art can be anywhere and it can really change lives.
Fresno's message with this project is to raise awareness to get young adults to vote. Tamala Riot, who is a photography teacher at Sunnyside High School, was in charge of putting this project together.
It invites people to be a part of their community. It invites them to look at their fellow Fresnans and see we're not all scary. We're actually some really hip, cool, interesting people.
Tamala students were in charge of mixing the paste used to glue the pictures on the wall. Then they were able to glue the printouts on the wall.
I think it was something amazing. As we were doing it, it was, for me, an amazing experience just to see people walk by and look at it and just get a smile on their face because, you know, I feel like downtown needs something like that.
The great thing about this project is that the Inside Out photo booths come directly to the streets. The participants are then able to enter the photo booth, take their picture, and then have it printed instantly. Tamala and her students are then able to mix the paste and then glue them on the wall. Eventually, over time, the rain will wash it away and it'll all be gone. Tamala and her students teamed up with JR's crew and they worked together to make this project, Vote, come to life here in Fresno.
So really, it's just we're putting as much into it as they did putting into doing this for our community.
No matter what your political views are, we can come together as a community to turn this world inside out by standing for what we believe. This is Chelsea Chivera, Fresno State Focus. These people found a way to make their voices heard and to make a difference. You can find these faces at Fresno Street and Broadway Plaza in downtown Fresno. Oh my gosh, so cute. Now it's time for What's the Tea, where we talk about something that's going on.
And we have something to say about it. Cruz and Clayton are here to join us on the conversation, where I think we're going to talk about Santa Claus and puppies.
Nice. Sounds pretty.
So what is up with people dressing up their animals and taking them to go take a picture with Santa instead of taking their own kids?
I think fur babies are just as important as real babies, and you know, if you want a picture of them, why not?
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, my mom is actually planning on dressing up our dog this year, and I'm against it, but it should be fun.
I personally hate when people dress their animals up like anything. I feel like the animal hates it. They just can't express it, but they hate it, I'm sure. I'm so sure of it.
I mean, if you love your dog, let them join in on the holiday fun, I guess.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they get some enjoyment out of it, too.
Yeah, we'll see. We can't interview them, so we don't know.
I don't think they like it. Next week on Fresno State Focus, we get into the holiday spirit. We learn how to pick the perfect Christmas tree.
Plus, we have a special guest from a very green man whose spirit could use some help.
Also, how do graduating athletes do it in 4 years? Find out from The Source. Thank you for joining us and joining us next week for our final broadcast of the semester.